In the meantime, we're going to move on to match number 3. Eddie having some tech issues, can't make it. We're going to go straight into Rase versus Saiyan. Saiyan is also 1-0 along with Rase. Rase able to beat Amnesiac in one of the coolest plays, I think. One of the coolest series, I think, from Grandmasters so far. Saiyan has Cyclone Mage, Bomb Warrior, Combo Priest, and Aggro Rogue, so a little bit of an unusual take on a lot of different stuff. And Ray's having the Reno Mage, Control Warrior, Aggro Rogue, and Reno Hunter. So I think Rogue might be a central focus on this series, depending on how both players feel. And this might actually end up becoming a thing where, because Rogue is so threatening to a few of these decks, maybe they protect Warrior, but then they only protect Warrior for insurance clauses, and then they don't play Warrior because they're still Mage and Hunter on both sides.
Yeah, it seems like the insurance policy protect Warrior has been pretty popular over the course of at least the first week here. Warrior seems like, especially Bomb Warrior, has a lot of consistency across the board where its bad matchups aren't that bad, and some of its good matchups are really good. And that's kind of what you want to see in a Conquest deck, right? Where you can't pinpoint a specific strategy from your opponent, especially in Shield, where you can't target something specifically anyway, so you might as well have things that are decent across the board.
Yes, there are only 2 lineups that don't have Warrior. That is Tyler, and that is Surrender's lineup. And there's only one lineup that doesn't have Mage, and that's Tom60229, who brought Zoo Warlock and plays it and wins.
Yeah.
Zoo Warlock actually is winning.
Did he lose to Staz today?
No, he won.
Oh, he beat Staz today.
He won 2-1. He won his first game with Zoo Warlock.
Okay. Yeah. I watched the Zoo Warlock game right before I left to come to the studio. So I couldn't watch the end of that series. It looked like Staz had momentum, but maybe not. So that's pretty impressive.
That's right. A no Mage lineup, that's risky, but, I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. I'd like Zoo Warlock.
Yes.
You knew that already, Dan?
Yeah.
What else do you know?
That you like Aggro Rogue.
I do like Aggro Rogue. What else do you know?
That you used to like Control Warrior.
I used to. I don't anymore. You know a lot about me, Dan.
We're clearly not very prepared to bring you the next series just at the moment, but
who's your
finally
source?
are. Saiyan is going to be playing the Rogue here. We got Pharaoh Cat, Hook Scimitar, and Myra's Unstable Element. He's playing a pretty straightforward deck list with what I consider to be the standard Aggro Rogue variant. There's no Chef Nomi. There's no extra fancy stuff.
Well, it's got a Henge Clan Thugs, which is a little bit non-standard.
I think it's pretty standard now.
It's pretty standard. But it, at least at the beginning of the set, it wasn't running the Henge Clan Thugs. I'm trying to think what he cut for those.
Henge Clan Thug, let's see, he's got
he cut the Evil Miscreants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that is not standard at all, though.
Yeah. That was the #1 card on my list to cut. Just because you have so many 3-drops now that you want to play on curve. And if given the choice of Coin Evil Miscreant or Coin Hook Scimitar, I'm taking that 8 damage for 3, baby.
I think so. I like Henge Clan Thugs in terms of curving out, and I think that's probably what this deck wants to do. When you're an aggro deck, you don't want to be stuck with fancy finesse cards, and that's what Evil Miscreant often feels like. That being said, I'm always really hesitant when when someone's playing Waggle Pick and Henge Clan Thug, because I feel like that interaction is not very clean, and I just prefer personally to have clean turns when I'm playing Rogue.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's one of the conversations we've been having for quite some time because of how much Waggle Pick and Henge Clan Thug has been shaping Rogue over the past however long it's been, many moons. Saiyan, very good opening hand already. Edwin Van Cleef from the coin, Henge Clan Thug. I wonder what he keeps. Deadly Poison, also a pretty low win rate, but it's a cheap spell for Edwin.
I'd say Henge Clan Thug is the most important here, and Edwin Van Cleef. I'd probably toss the rest. Dread Corsair is like... Dread Corsair is a card that's always powerful, in the sense that if you get it out early, great. If you get it out late, it's a really cheap way to combo and flood the board. And Deadly Poison is only really useful if you are trying to specifically combo something in the mid stages of the game, or you're trying to push for lethal damage.
Wow!
Oh, wow, he threw away the Henge Clan Thug. All right, I'm pretty surprised by that. I'm actually going to see what the data says.
Job's done.
I was like, Henge Clan Thug's the only card that I want to keep. And
What? Edwin on the coin? You kidding me?
At first glance, right? Edwin on the coin, though, is, of course, really good.
Yeah. I would have probably just kept Edwin and Henchland, though. But they also kind of work against each other, right? I think you can only keep one of them. Because Henchland Thug, you want to just play on curve. And you want to attack the turn that you play it to get it growing. Whereas the Deadly Poison and the Edwin are telling a different story. You want to hold a dagger and Deadly Poison, coin Edwin Van Cleef, and then attack. So I think they conflict with each other in that mulligan. And that's why he opted for the Deadly Poison Edwin, because that's a higher swing potential. And with Dread Corsair, Deadly Poison has synergy as well, so...
I'm still looking up the data. Give me a second.
Make sure you look at on coin.
So many.
It's not that much data out there. Feel free to talk, TJ.
I'm just thinking. I'm not gonna talk. Just gonna,
Not like you're paid to do that or anything.
I'm just gonna sit here and just think about stuff.
All right. Well, no decks have cut Evil Miscreant and put in Henge Clan Thugs
Just saying, deck has.
on HS Replay. Wow, just not even letting me finish any sentence. Cool. Great casting synergy we got.
Ow.
According to the very limited sample size data that we have. Well, this one doesn't even have Edwin Van Cleef in its deck list. What are these decks that people are playing on ladders? Probably budget versions of Rogue decks.
Meanwhile, Rase debating between turn 3 plays. I think it's just Ursatron here. Sip gives him the most board presence, but Ursatron means that he can snip step onto it next turn for maximum damage. Oh boy!
Yeah, Henge Clan Thug's one of the worst, one of the most awkward cards to keep on the coin for Rogue. It's actually the worst.
Really?
Literally last in percentage. It's actually higher percentage to keep Life Drinker than Henge Clan.
Wow. All right. Well, get that out of here then. Saiyan making the right call. And go in the 6/6 Edwin Van Cleef. Yeah, he honestly had the potential to do something insane. He could have like sapped the Ursatron that turn and just held. And the next turn, Deadly Poison, Dread Corsair, coin Edwin Van Cleef. Would have been a 12-12? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 10-10.
It just gives him another chance to play Freezing Trap or to play Deadly Shot. I like putting out the tempo a little bit faster.
But this is also vulnerable to Deadly Shot, whereas the other one would have had a Dread Corsair on board.
Sure, but then it doesn't get the damage in now.
Yeah.
If you get to attack twice, you get the you get to have that similar-ish damage. I understand where you're going with it, though.
Yeah, it's a little too greedy. And Leok, oh jeez. That's already just a ton of damage from Saiyan. It's about how to maximize it. How much do you want to respect this Leok? Rase doesn't have too many ways to capitalize on it, honestly. He has Kill Command, which would take out Edwin Van Cleef, but if he plans on playing Dread Corsair, then that's negated because he can't attack into it. Rase does play Spring Paw, so that could be on his mind as far as plays go.
Yeah, I like maximum tempo here. The sap makes sense given that it's difficult for Rase to deal with everything on board, and he wants to just go face with his damage.
Yeah. Next turn he goes Waggle Pick, Deadly Poison, calls it up with Fire to try and find
like to swing. You can justify playing Waggle Pick Deadly Poison instead of the Myras, right? Like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so for 3 mana, you can get Shadow or Death Dance to the 6/6. You'll be offered Shadow Bolt to answer the 3/3. Frostbolt maybe. It's a little bit tough. I'm not sure if I'm in Zephyr's spot. I know what the 3 best cards they could offer you. One would be like a 2 of them would probably be removal spells, and one of them is probably like a development one for 3 mana.
Probably Shadow or Death, Silence, and
Like Animal Companion.
Animal Companion. He has an expensive hand. It wouldn't offer Wild Good.
Oh, Frost Nova.
Frost Nova, yeah. Frost Nova, Silence, and Shower Death. Oh, Healing Touch.
Oh, it says it's like, dude, you're about to die.
You're gonna die, dude. Here's a Healing Touch.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take a Shadow or Death.
Still, 6 more damage.
Oh boy.
4 more picked up. And now as Zephyr's used, Rase doesn't have access to the weapon removal card that could easily be created. So Sand can now push 11 damage. He would have a 2-turn lethal. This is the only play.
Yep. Rase does have Acidic Swamp in his deck.
Even then, he might be dead.
Yeah.
Rase has Zilliax.
Myers at that point would be so likely to pick up a backstab. Rase can't know that. He has to operate on the assumption that justsaiyan's going to play the next few turns honorably.
Yeah, I think for Rase, probably has to prioritize survival at this stage. So he has Zilliax and Siamat as back-to-back defensive plays. Siamat can go for a taunt.
Precision. Perfection.
Oh, wow, 1 damage off. I still think you go for the Myras, right?
Yep. You pick up a backstab. Get the 6 damage into face.
So you draw 8 cards out of 20, and there's 2 cards. It's a possible hit for backstab. I don't think he's played a backstab, right?
No.
Those are pretty decent odds in terms of getting it, but there's also, 12 cards you don't draw, and so the punish would be pretty significant.
Can also pick up South Sea Deckhand, which would kill the Zilliax and allow him to push 6. It would bring Rase down to 7, so like a lot of combinations of cards would still kill Rase next turn. Well, he's running out of time. Oh, no.
Yeah, you go for it for sure. Gets a backstab. There it is.
And South Sea Deckhand, which means he also gets to bounce that back for even more guaranteed damage. Did he give it to him? He did.
Looks like he did.
Life Drinker, Eviscerate, Hook Scimitar, and South Sea Deckhand in hand. That's... well, that's 7 mana. But Life Drinker, Hook Scimitar, South Sea Deckhand. It's 9 damage. Ray's already seen a sap, so might have to put all of his stock in this Tiamat right now and just hope. But Saiyan's going to take the game 1. So many cards kill him.
All right, so Saiyan with the Life Trigger is going to close out the first game of this series. Rase getting completely stomped, but that's what the power of the Rogue is. And, off the back of Edwin Van Cleef, also, I realized that Henchman Thug obviously not as good on the coin, but I didn't realize how insanely bad it is relative to everything else. It is the worst performing card, just off that low sample size of data out there.
Yeah. I don't know. Henchman Thug, it just seemed like it's good against Mage. And it's in a world where all of your 3-drops as rogue need a combo activator. If you're not on the coin, you need something to fill that gap. And otherwise, you're playing like an SI7 agent on 3. Henchclan Thug, obviously way better. So I understand why it's in the deck. And I think it might improve your not on coin matchup quite significantly. But on the coin, you're just looking for the good stuff.
Yep. So we're going to take a break for our first game and then go into game number 2 and see if Saiyan can continue his momentum into the second game of this best of 3.
Darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tomb, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the markets, and ancient mysticism. But this league's gonna save the world.
My name is David Chan. In the game, I go by justsaiyan. My username is just kind of a pun, right? But over the years, I think it's grown to mean a lot more to me. Playing Hearthstone for 4 to 5 years, I've probably won like 35,000 games, which means I've lost like 30,000 games. So definitely going back and forth and picking up after every loss. And that's kind of what the anime embodies, right? Is like, you lose a fight, you almost die, and then you come back stronger. So being in Grandmasters, especially coming to the summit and everything, it feels like you have just a wide, diverse range of amazing players. And now it's, at least at the start here, it feels like we have a new responsibility to represent Hearthstone, to represent, you know, how fun and competitive that this game can be to the best that we can. So for me, the X factor has to be, I think, just I'm good at finding an edge where other players aren't exactly looking, and then trying to drive as much as I can into that so that I have an even bigger edge at the end of the day. Personal goals for the year: get into the 2 spots from North America to make it to the grand finals this year. I mean, I'm saying this like right after Worlds, but I'm just dying to get back in there, you know?
My name is Lucas Guerra Romano. When I was like 11 or 12, I don't know if I saw like the word raise, like people using poker, raise your bet or something, and oh, this word is kind of nice, and then I cut the letter I, and then I use it just raise. That's how I created my nick, and I'm using it since I was like 11 years old or something. So last year was pretty huge for me. I have had a lot of great achievements, finished like top 18 points on NA. Being here, being a Grandmaster, like people will recognize me as a Grandmaster, and that's pretty cool. I'm always looking for win, but being here together with the best players in the world, I will try to push myself a lot. It's pretty easy to win a game that you are favored, that you drew well, but you need to win bad matchups, games that you have a small percentage to win. Like, you need to evaluate when you need to risk something or when you just need to play pretty safe. This is what I try to do, and I think I do well sometimes. I'm here to win. I will try my best for it.
justsaiyan's currently up 1-0 over Rase after a very quick rogue game. T, did you play any games with Henchclan Thug during that break?
No,
Instead
I did
of
not.
Evil Miscreant?
I did not. I want to. I said before, I've been trying to figure out a way to cut Evil Miscreant for a long
You
time.
had 3 minutes. That's like time for 2 rogue games.
It's also time for like 5 laps. But
Wow, you're really fast.
yeah, we have a very small studio. 5 laps are on the desk. How about
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, you're really fast.
I'm exceptionally fast. I said right after that game was over, I want to try that deck. He didn't play Henchman Thug at all, but I just feel like his head is in the right place. And Evil Miscreant feels like the card that is the biggest liability, because if you're not on coin, it's so hard to use. You want to be pushing the aggression. You don't want to be holding cards to combo with it. And lackeys are hit or miss, especially with Titanic Lackey. Titanic Lackey just made the lackey pool, specifically for Rogue, quite poor. There's fringe case scenarios where you can use it and get a huge effect to protect something.
Right, if you're playing like the Mirror.
If you're playing the Mirror, or if you're playing like against Warrior and you need to protect your 6/6 Edwin Van Cleave from a Restless Mummy. Very specific scenario. But yeah, I like it. I like where it sits at.
I think so too. So I like what you said, that I think lackey pools are just not that reliable. And we'll see if Rase can strike back here. Sane's going to turn to his Priest. He's got the 1 Silence, 1 Topsy-Turvy, the Forbidden Words. So the trio of tech cards. Rase bringing the Warrior. And we saw the Priest crush Warrior if they got that early game start. We've also seen Warriors really throw off the Priests from being able to establish anything because they keep removing all their stuff. So as we go into game number 2, I do want to throw a pop quiz at TJ.
Let's go.
So Saiyan had 20 cards left in his deck, and he was going to draw 8 from Myers' Stable Element, and he had 2 backstabs in the deck. What was it? What do you think was the chances of him drawing a backstab? I actually calculated during the break.
So it's 8 cards out of 20?
Yes.
Wouldn't it just be 8 out of 20?
Do you think it's above or below 75%?
Below?
It's above. It's 85% chance to draw a backstab.
Huh.
That's really high. Assuming my calculations are correct. You take a hypergeometric distribution, and because there's 2 backstabs, and you have a chance to hit any one of them, either one of them, you hit 83% to draw 1 or less of the wanted card.
Interesting. That's way above my intelligence.
I'm assuming this this coding thing is correct. Although this says the chance to draw 0 of the wanted card is 34%, which would make it that it's 65% to not draw, or to actually draw 1 or 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say 65%.
Oh, okay. Wow, you're really smart.
Well, no, that just makes sense because it'd be
2/3 of it.
Yeah, 2/3 of it.
Close to it.
Yeah, because you can't divide 20 evenly into 3 parts, right?
Is it just a simple? Is it actually just a simple like division of that? 8 out of 20.
That was my assumption.
It might be. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it and actually just being a complete fool.
What now?
Either way, I think it's interesting to think about
Yeah.
because this is what the stuff that goes through the minds of top players. You try to think about besides just like, oh, yes or no, should I do it? You think about percentages and whether or not it influences your decisions or not.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But
Because 8 divided by 20 is 4.4. Because it's
yeah, actually, I would have said that. I would have
5.
said just like, I don't know. That's really tough.
so it's not actually
I'm
a
confused.
60% chance to draw or whatnot. It's interesting.
It's very interesting. Meanwhile, this matchup can sometimes be interesting. Just saying, was able to find extra arms, but a turn late,
Yeah.
which means that he can't get the second charge. This is a simulation of the world post-nerf.
Well, the High Priest of Met still comes down as a really scary card to deal with.
It does. Unfortunately, he has no minions in his hand that synergize with it. Injured Blade Master is exactly the same with or without, though he did pick up Divine Spirit as well, so he could Divine Spirit and then Injured Blade Master. Because Injured Blade Master has 7 health, it just damages itself for 4 when it's played. So if you play with High Priest of Met, it's still a 4/3. But if you play Divine Spirit, then it is now a 15.
What now?
No, 11. I'm dumb.
We should stop trying to count on camera.
All this math is like making my head explode.
I think that one of the things that I would want to do, assuming our casters had free time and we were most likely willing to do that is actually take a stats class together. I think it would actually help us a lot.
I took a lot of statistics classes.
I did too. I studied so much math in college, but that was, of course, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And like most things, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So that is something that I feel like I need to improve on.
I
But
got-
if you do want to improve your card gaming in general, like if you're, let's say you play, Uno back at home.
I don't.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about rival card games in Hearthstone, but if you do want to try it, if you want to play Skippo or Phase 10,
I don't even know those. Is Cards Against Humanity a rival card game?
apples to apples. If you want to prove your apples to apples gaming skills, definitely check out some stats classes, and it'll help you a lot. Oh, interesting. Circle of Healing. Now that's a good one. You're talking about you didn't know how to deal with, didn't how to pump the Injured Blade Master. Circle of Healing, Divine Spirit, Injured Blade Master.
So that would bring it up to 10. So Injured Blade Master would be 7 health. That's still really good.
Well, that's almost like full healing circle Injured Blade Master.
Yeah, it is. And it has room to grow.
Alternatively, you could Circle of Healing, more arms, Injured Blade Master, and it'll be a 4/7. That goes down. That goes down to a 4/3.
But you push 2 extra damage, Dan.
You do push 2 extra damage.
You
You would obviously just heal, I think, in that spot.
if he does that, Plague of Wrath just... Oh, Plague of Wrath's going to end the game.
I think you heal to 2/7 full, and then
Okay.
play Injured Blade Master. Or do you just Divine Spirit now? What's the punish off of that?
I don't know. I guess more arms is just better overall. There's anything that's going to kill this on Met now would kill Divine Spirit too.
Right. It's true. 9 health is pretty high up.
Yeah, and then he can Divine Spirit Injured Blade Master next turn.
Just that we look at that Dynamatic, and it does impact that Met.
Yeah.
I wonder.
You can just see how tough this matchup is for Priest, because it's so hard to stick a minion and have it healthy enough to be able to win you the game with Inner Fire. Rase has like checks for so many things. Even just Dynamatic this turn, even though it takes a free trade over the Amet, it puts it down to 4 health, which means that even after healing, Saiyan would only have 4 mana to be able to develop, and it'd be damaged. Some of the other cards that would be played with the Met, like Injured Blade Master, Injured Tolver, would also be damaged. So Plague of Wrath would just clean it up nice and easy. Ray still looks very stressed trying to figure this out, but I feel like Dynamatic was worthwhile.
Yes. I misread it, by the way, because I'm starting to do more calculations on like what's the chance Saiyan draws Inner Fire, which it's 2 out of 22. But I did say I was looking at the wrong stat, so it was 65% chance. You were right, TJ. It was below 75.
Yes!
You're so smart.
I got up to the 300 level statistics in college, and I remember 0 of it.
Great. Rase wants to kill off this 4/6. Plague of Wrath looks like the immediate thing that you want to do to stop it, but that doesn't solve the fact that there's an Acolyte that will is basically Octosari if you play Dynamatic.
Yeah. Even better because it doesn't overdraw anything.
Right. I mean, Rase really wants to kill it. Doesn't seem like it's going to be easy. And also, both of these are threatening in their own right.
What now?
If your opponent has Divine Spirit Inner Fire, that's a 2-turn clock. They have a second Divine Spirit, you're dead. The Plague of Wrath would probably make Saiyan feel really good, given that Amet's just basically in top deck mode, right? Like, this is the best that Amet gets. You're the best that Amet can get. It's a great slogan.
Yes, it is.
Extra arms.
Oh, okay. This is a tough situation. There's so much removal to play around. It's about like which ones do you want to play around?
Does Rase have a Spellbreaker in his deck?
No,
I wonder.
does not. Has weapon removal. Double Weapons Project, Harrison Jones. Weapon removal / card draw. Also has Faces Manipulator. He's playing the same or similar lineup, or at least the Warrior deck from Monsanto that we saw yesterday. Fantastic in the mirror. He was able to faceless his opponent's Elysiana and Baleful Banker that Elysiana that he faceless in order to get further into fatigue. So, let's play from Just Saying. He's trying to make it awkward. He's not playing it too far into Brawl because he has 2 pretty strong minions on board. Continuing to chip away, and again, Dynamatic is not really playable with this large Acolyte paint on board.
Man, is Rase forced to brawl in this position like this? Brawling to kill the Acolyte would be massive, but then you're stuck with a 4/5 that's going to get more arms attached to it.
Yeah.
Killing the Injured Blade Master means that, well, you have the power, but there's still an Acolyte that's unchecked.
An Acolyte with the higher health total as well, and since Rase saw the first half of extra arms, it means that if Saiyan were to draw the combo,
He's dead.
then he would be dead because it'd be 20 damage. I guess he'd armor up afterwards, so it'd be slightly off.
Sure.
What now?
But it'd be pretty close. Though, Priest is one of the decks that struggles. Once if they put on early damage, they don't have anything that can finish the game. They have no chargers, they have no damage from hand if they don't play Holy Ripple. They're playing a minion a turn, which once they're in top deck mode is usually a pretty small minion outside of Psycho Palm. So it can be difficult to close things out. Okay, gonna take the...
Oh, wow.
He's praying.
Winning. He's hoping for the 1 and 3. I mean, this is better odds than just a 50-50. Oh! Woo. Wow, no reaction from Rase. I guess just slight relief. Saiyan can't do anything.
This is a pass.
That was a pass. And I think Rase just cleared the game. Like, that was the hardest part. Acolyte drawing 0 cards.
Ray's still not home free yet, but very close to it. So much armor gain in hand, as well as lots and lots and lots of removal. The only way I see him losing if he tries to take it too slow and Saiyan like gets Acolyte and Wild Pyromancer, and is able to like sweep up the board, draw a ton of cards, and then reload now that Brawl's gone. But that's multiple turns away, which gives Rase multiple turns to pick up even more resources. There's one piece of that puzzle.
Yeah, but Acolyte gets shut down by armor now with Shield Slam.
Yeah, I think Saiyan has to try and pick up a Wild Pyro off the top and get multiple draws out of Acolyte.
Yeah, is he dead by that?
I must consider.
Like, by that point where he gets the Pyromancer, which is not likely.
So if he gets Pyromancer next turn and exactly Northshire Cleric the turn after, then he can pop off.
Is this another math problem?
What's the likelihood of exactly Cleric or Wild Pyromancer into the other?
Okay. And how many of them are in the deck?
There's 2 of each. He hasn't played a single copy. So it would be... I don't even know where to begin, so good luck. You can go into the tank.
The chances of drawing exactly that, if I did it correctly, the chances to draw exactly 2 of the wanted card is 4%.
Wow. All right, Ray's wisely going to split things up here. Does not want to leave himself vulnerable to silence. Do like a little bit of aggressive push with the Omega Devastator, just because if Saiyan were to silence that, it would still go down to a 4/5. So nicely done there. Power Ward Shield is not exactly Wild Pyromancer or Northshire Cleric, but it could draw him deeper. So Power Ward Shield was also an out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as clean as that too, and it could be like the Pyromancer draws into the Northshire that draws into it. So
the Pyromancer with the Acolyte Paint draws into the Northshire,
right,
which draws into the Power Ward
exactly.
Shield.
Like it's obviously
Or
not
the
as
other way
clean as
around.
that. I think
Yeah.
we're talking about like if he drew 2 cards right away, what was like the chances of him hitting that exactly that?
It was a 50-50. It either happened or it didn't, and it didn't happen. So.
There you go. How are you not top 10 legend?
I was earlier today, believe it or not.
I must consider.
Can Saiyan afford to wait 1 more turn? I'd argue no.
12. He would take 12, so he'd go down to 12. What?
Nothing. Keep going.
That's factual.
Our math analysis, he could use some work.
It would take 12, so he'd go down to 12 because he'd heal up to 24.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. Multiples of 12. How many months are in a year?
12.
How many apostles are there?
No idea.
How many times have we failed at math on this cast?
12. I just want to play Archivist Elysiana here.
Yeah. Search for damage. I like it. It's a lot of damage. Priest does not have single target removal outside of Forbidden Words.
This story deserves.
He's got Weapons Project, Shield Slam, Dynamatic, and Warpath. He's got enough for me.
Arcanite Reaper. Arcanite Reaper. Another one. Warsong Commander. Come on. Yes.
Warsong
Please.
Commander, and then get a charge minion. Inner Rage.
Rage. Scarlet Crusader is also good.
Clockwork Goblin.
Ooh. I actually think Plague of Wrath here is fairly important in case your opponent goes for some godlike Pyromancer play and then you just Plague of Wrath and own everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so probably Acolyte of Pain, Power Word Shield. I don't think you can play Injured Tolvir because you just need to draw. Okay. Wrong.
If he picks up Cleric. That is a Cleric.
Someone injured?
That is a heal. Okay, that's another heal.
And then he can Divine Spirit to bring it to 16.
Life is an afterthought.
Pyromancer, but he has the Silence Pyromancer and the Circle of Healing for maximum cards.
Do you want maximum cards or do you want maximum life?
Divine Spirit is plus 8 life. I think I need life. You probably need life here. You're just dead if you don't do that.
Yeah.
And from the looks of it, is he dead anyways?
No.
I think he might.
Oh, now he is.
Because the Weapons Project is plus 6, plus the shield armor up is Shield Slam. That's 13 damage. You push through, and there's 13 damage anyways.
But it also gives the armor to Saiyan.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
18.
Yeah, never mind. You're right.
The Inner Rage, though? So, Weapons Project, armor up, you said 13.
What now?
Oh, Warpath?
Warpath's also helpful.
So he trades in the 2 damage, Warpaths once, has 8 on board. Inner Rage, is he 1 off? No, because he can attack with the weapon. Yeah, it is lethal.
Ah, nicely done.
So you trade with the 2/2, you Warpath once, you Inner Rage something, then you have 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. See the Inner Rage pick?
The Inner Rage pick was the juice.
It was the juice.
It wasn't the Arcanite Reaper. It wasn't the second Arcanite Reaper.
It was the Inner Rage.
It was the Inner Rage. But we kind of knew that this game was toast for saying the moment Rase won that brawl. We're gonna go into game number 3 here, tied up, 1 game apiece.
Yeah. I think the early matchups have gone the way of the data. Just a tough matchup for Priest because it's hard for them to stick a minion. I think Saiyan got reasonably close. Maybe if he wins the brawl, that's a completely different look. Especially if Acolyte wins the brawl. That's a different look from Saiyan. But that's why Brawl's in the deck, because it gives you chances to win those, buy you that time that you need to get to the point where you can play Archivist Elysiana onto a board with 15 cards left in your deck, destroy them all, and replace them with damage.
Yes, and I think that the important thing was that Control Warrior just kept its removal tools. Like, you know, if he didn't have that brawl, like imagine if he was able to hold on to Plague of Death and was able to like Warpath Plague of Death. Those are like the things that you have to like always worry about. So yes, you know, if Rase was able to get very important brawl outcome in that situation, but it's already looking like a difficult game for Priest once those minions were cleared. It was about whether or not Say could draw enough cards, and you can see that him being a few cards deeper would have probably even potentially swung the game the other direction, given how he picked up Wild Pyromancer and Northshire Cleric, and he had the Acolyte of Pain. So very close, but no cigar.
Yeah, and I'm curious what Rase is going to queue up next. With Warrior out of the way, there's a lot of weakness to Priest. Hunter, though, has some game against it. Early secrets can put some definite pressure. Rase is going to be playing his Highlander Hunter. As we saw with Eddie, he's playing a very similar list with the Acidic Swamp Ooze, the Spring Paw, and the Flare, as well as Savannah Highmane. So packs a little bit more of a punch, but less kind of early game anti-aggression stuff because he doesn't have like Sun River Spy, doesn't have Explosive Trap. It has a Hunter's Pack, which not great in those matchups where you need to be spending your mana developing and clearing off board states rather than trying to get more value. But Saiyan is going to stick on the Priest.
Yeah, Priest, I think, still is his best deck. I don't think he wants to switch off of it here.
Begin.
And with that early game draw of the Diner Tamer brand, I feel like things are okay for Rase at the very least.
Do you keep Dino Tamer Brand in this matchup, though, is the question. I feel like it does still have a pretty high win rate, but I think there's a lot of cards you're looking for. I think Deadly Shot's probably a key, just because you need something to be able to contest early board. And if you can remove some stuff early on from the Priest, you're usually in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, because it's a matchup that the early game board matters a lot more, maybe you don't keep the brand. It seems to be kind of in the middle of the pack here for some of the data that's out there.
Yeah, I think just Deadly Shot.
Yeah.
Spring Paw? I'm torn on.
Stop a Light Warden.
It stops Light Warden, but
Oh,
Is
boy.
someone injured?
Oh, boy, wow.
it doesn't stop Northshire Cleric. Oh, Pressure Plate's so good.
If Saiyan has a minion. Or, sorry, as a spell.
Yeah, but right now he doesn't. But he's got kind of a good mix here. It's just about sequencing it in like the highest success rate way. Pressure Plate right now would fend against extra arms
Quickly.
or Power Word Shield. Freezing Trap would kind of do the same thing, but I think Rase kind of just wants to sit back and see what the hand looks like from Saiyan, whether or not he has those buff cards. So if he has the buff cards, he could go with like Freezing Trap and maybe Pressure Plate later to make the turns kind of awkward for Saiyan.
That Psycho Pop was a fairly important pickup, too, for Saiyan. That gives him a backup option in case any of his early game momentum gets stopped.
Yep. Well, Wing Blast is a clear on the Northshire Cleric here.
Yeah, I do like the Wing Blast in this position.
Because Freezing Trap means that Saiyan has easy access to a Northshire Cleric to draw cards later on.
What about just the Pressure Plate, then?
Just Pressure Plate?
Save the Wing Blast for a situation on the following turn, because your opponent still can't draw cards based on what you see.
The Spring Paw and Wing Blast is guaranteed. The Northshire
true.
Cleric's dead. It doesn't get any value. It's never going to get value.
Right, but my thing is that Saiyan's not going to be able to draw a card next turn unless Saiyan specifically had Injured Blade Master or the Tol'Vir and Circle Field. Which, if he had the Injured Tol'Vir, he would have played it the previous turn.
Yeah.
That's only my argument. And now Rase has to deal with this 4-3, which is somewhat problematic.
Yeah, if he Deadly Shots this and Saiyan plays High Priest of Met on curve, which was a card kept in the mulligan, and a card kept in the mulligan that Saiyan, well, I guess it could still be Extra Arms, right? Oh no, he probably would have played Extra Arms on 2.
Yes,
if that was the case,
exactly.
no secret. So he might be able to narrow that down to High Priest of Met. So if he uses Deadly Shot here, he could be in some trouble.
Yeah, I don't anticipate a Deadly Shot here from Rase. I am thinking a Freezing Trap, or some kind of trap, Pressure Plate or Freezing Trap is applicable here, and an Ursatron is also on the table. Ursatron because it helps fill out Race's mid-game. Rase has a lot of like early game combat tricks, and then has almost nothing in the mid-game play up to CMI.
Freezing Trap it is.
Ooh, Nelly.
Oh boy.
Saiyan has only needed one more mana before this Ritualist and this Tolvir and the Cleric combo became super nutty.
But do you just go for maximum board presence now, forget the card draw, and go Tolvir plus Neverset Ritualist?
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking about that right now, and I'm thinking maybe does Saiyan want to go wide? He's gonna attack and see the secret. It's Freezing Trap. If he plays the Ahmed, he walks into Deadly Shot, but is that really that bad of a thing? Because he can play Psychopomp.
I see a dark.
He can play Psychopomp, which has 2 very good hits with Injured Blade Master and Psychopomp. Or sorry, with High Priest Ahmed. If he hits High Priest Ahmed off the Psychopomp, then he plays Northshire Cleric and it's a 1/7.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get into interesting territory here for Rase. I mean, this pretty much has to be a Deadly Shot. I don't think he can afford not to.
I wonder.
If he tries to leave it up for a turn, then Psychopomp is going to destroy him, or even just, you know, 2 minions played is going to destroy him.
Well, if he has Psychopomp, it's a 50% chance that he gets wrecked anyways. Because Psychopomp will come back.
Well, no, yeah, if he has Psychopomp, then you want a Deadly Shot. Because if you don't Deadly Shot, he Psychopomps. The Psychopomp has 7 health.
Right, I'm saying that
Yeah.
even if you do Deadly Shot, the Psychopomp can bring it back.
For sure, yeah. You just hope he doesn't have Psychopomp. That's the play.
But he has Psychopomp.
But he has it. So we're kind of in a catch-22 here.
Well,
It's the Psychopomp paradox. It's Schrodinger's Psychopomp.
it's not even really a paradox, it's reality. And Rase, unhappy to see that. Northshire Cleric comes down as a 1/7. Rase is in big trouble. Big trip.
Oh, yeah.
Master Shaw, Acidic Swamp Ooze. None of these seem to be particularly very effective. Rase can pick off this 3/1. The added benefit of being able to use Deadly Shot.
Yeah. But every other play you can make this turn seems not great. Plays Houndmaster Shaw. You can try and set up for some rush stuff. But might be like Pressure Plate Ursatron.
I think I like the Pressure Plate Ursatron. It keeps your draw option flexible to maybe even play Dino Taper Bran on curve, which might be relevant in this position, just to use it to clear off the board.
Saiyan has already seen
Oh, man.
Freezing Trap.
Oh, man. Yeah, Freezing Trap already gone. Pressure Plate being another really threatening card. But he can attack this 3/3 and then draw 2 cards from the Ritualist. Play Psychopomp number 2.
Oh, jeez.
It almost doesn't really matter what you bring back because everything's just ridiculous at that point.
Yeah, and Neverset Ritualist is actually good into Snipe, right? So,
Yes.
but instead I'm gonna go with this. I think he really wants to try and narrow down what the secrets are, and this gets rid of Snipe as a possibility. And Rase does not play Explosive Trap, so he's seen Freezing Trap. He knows that it's not Snake. Now he knows that it's not Snipe. So it's either Rat Trap or the Pressure Plate.
Oh, interesting. Just getting the Light Warden on board so that the Ritualist is a higher payoff. Important sequencing as well to make sure that Ahmed doesn't take damage before he plays the minions. Things are looking still very dicey for Rase. I think he might want to go for the Wind Fury and the Rush on the Tiamat, which is kind of a punish here to Saiyan. Kind of. Not the biggest punish.
Yeah, I mean, he still has the Neverset Ritualist to heal back up the Amet and Northshire Cleric, which would make his Psychopomp then still res be 7 health and res something at 7 health. So this is honestly like, feels like a really good play for Rase. He's chipping away a lot at the board, but it's still so far away from getting him back to the game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a way for Saiyan to have avoid the situation, because losing that second cleric means his card draw source has been limited.
Oh, this is cute.
There are 2 clerics in the pool for Psychopomp. And he does prefer to heal the Amet before he ends up going for the Psychopomp. So, it is a little bit of a tricky situation here.
I wonder.
He could heal Amet, trade over the Siamat with the Light Warden.
I think he wants to go for the cleric. 2 clerics have died, a Psychopomp and a Tolvir. Psychopomp comes out.
The end begins. The end begins.
Another Psychopomp. I think that's the worst option here for Saiyan, but Ray's still, of course, upset to see the fact that this seems to be an unkillable board. The Reborn element of it makes it really tricky, and Rase doesn't have a good follow-up here. His best is Ziliax into the Light Warden.
That's rough.
Yeah, but Saiyan's, without his card draw source, is pretty much stuck with what he's got. And I think that's the only thing that's the only caveat to the line that he took. He took a very aggressive one. And, you know, I get that you want to kill your opponent, play your stuff so it's in play, etc. But at the same time, it does make it so that if it doesn't work out, it will fizzle pretty spectacularly.
Yeah, the Never Set Ritualist I've thought was great like every turn.
Yes.
It felt like.
And he hasn't played it.
He hasn't played it. Instead, he keeps going for these pretty like wide board states.
I think to him, he views a Ritualist as like an opportunity to maybe combo, very similar to Divine Spirit.
Sure.
Job done.
But outside of something from Zephyrus, Race is going to be in trouble for some time because Hunter just doesn't have ways to deal with like these crazy wide board states outside of like Zephyrus and Zul'jin if you have enough spells loaded up.
So Freezing Trap's gone. In his mind, it could be Pressure Plate, Rat Trap,
This new Seeker could be anything.
Snipe, Snake Trap, Explosive Trap. Those are the possibilities.
No explosive. Race doesn't play explosive, so that gives him some narrowed down. And the new secret he just knows isn't freezing because freezing he's already played into. So it's actually kind of tough to navigate. Is it Ritualist time? Danger Tolver will still die to this night.
I've got more left in me.
Oh, it's not a snipe. He has a snipe.
Life is an afterthought.
Yikes. All right, Zul'jin. He's got Deadly Shot, Wing Blast, and a bunch of secrets.
Right.
That's his spell pool right now.
Yeah, Race is just hoping for the Zul'jin to bail him out. He knows that he's kind of at the mercy of whatever Saiyan's drawing. Topsy-turvy. Is that death? Oh, it depends on how the Pressure Plate pans out. So we have Rat Trap, Pressure Plate, and Snipe.
So Divine Spirit and Flip would be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, plus 6.
I wonder.
It's lethal unless the Pressure Plate hits exactly the minion that he leaves up to Flip with Divine Spirit Topsy-Turvy.
All right, let's see.
So Divine Spirit
sees what is going to attack. Pressure Plate comes out.
looks like it's still green, which means he can attack.
And there it is. Topsy-turvy should end this game. Saiyan gonna improve to a 2-0 score. Radiance with a flawless week to start off Grandmasters Season 2.
Yeah, much different than their start to Season 1, where it seemed like they struggled for almost the entire first half.
Yes.
So good to see from them playing similar lineups. The same lineup, I think. Maybe I lost Muzzy's deck list.
Yeah, they're playing the same
lineup.
along with Amnesiac.
Yeah, along with Amnesiac. The Cyclone Mage being kind of the interesting choice in the Mage slot. You said only 2 players in all of Grandmasters don't have Mage, Tyler and Tom. So, and nobody in the Americas. And there are a couple of the players to bring Cyclone Mage, and while it struggled for Amnesiac yesterday, it's able to pick up the win for Muzzy, and saying it's a innocent bystander off to the side, cheering on the rest of his decks. He gets the credit as well.
All right. So with that, Saiyan able to go 2-0 for the week. Rase, I felt like kind of just got dunked on by some of the plays that from Saiyan, but I gotta say that it wasn't necessarily because Rase played bad, but because Saiyan was taking some lines that put Rase in tough spots.
Yep.
And the moment Saiyan was going to pick up Interfire or a Topsy-Turvy, it would have been really difficult for Rase to turn that momentum around. But now we're finished with 3 series. Coming up next.